Hello vintage tent fans, welcome to Warrior Camping. Now today I've got another lovely old tent to show you today. This is the Wild Country Trisar. Now this is an early model of the Trisar and this is the Ultra version. So this is the lightweight version, geared up for the backpacker of the day. So this one is much lighter than the normal version because it is the Ultra. So let's have a look at this lovely old tent. So Jessie's going to pitch it up and have a look at it because she might want to take this one to Devon. I'd already dug it out, but I think she's got her heart set on taking the last one I pitched, the Scirocco, because she loved the colour, she loved the big porch on the front, so I do think the Scirocco is going to Devon. But I'd already dug this one out, so we might as well put it up and then we can put it on the channel and at least she can have a look at it because she never knows, she might want to take this because it is a really nice little tent, this one. And it is easy to pitch, this tent. It goes up in no time. It's a nice little tent to pitch. So I've had this tent a long time, and I think it was one of the first ever things that I bought off of eBay. Because I remember it was on eBay, it was only local, so I bought it, and my mate gave me a lift to go and collect it in his car. And that was a long time ago, that must have been 20 years ago, maybe even longer than that. I have had this old tent a long time. And it's been used a lot, this tent, because me and my mates, we used to use this as our fishing tent. Because the way the front opens up, we'd get right down on the bank of the river, pull the front back, get our rods out the front, and use this at the fishing tent. And we'd done a lot of fishing back then, so this tent really got used a lot, all year round, out fishing, night fishing and all that with it. So as you can see, it's got all really nice aluminium poles. It really is a well-made tent, this one. Really is good, top quality tent. And I don't know how old it is. Like I said, I've had it a good 20 year. And it wasn't new when I've got it. It was a bit of an old tent then. So it has got some years on the clock, this old tent, definitely. And we've used it a lot of fishing and other things. This tent's been up the woods. This tent's been about because I did use it a lot. It's like, because it's quite small and it is quite light, this tent. For how old it is, this tent is not much heavier than a modern tent. Like if you get a modern tent that's got the 3 poles and a similar sort of design to this one is about the same weight. So considering how old it is, this is a nice lightweight tent and it packs down small. So we used to use this thing a lot. This was like our night fishing tent and it did get used other times. All weathers, this old girl would be out and it's took all that, no problem. There is nothing wrong with it other than the like seam seals going a bit on it, which I will get round to doing another day. I shall do this one. This will be the next one that I actually do because it does need doing, really, this one. Only on the floor, the seam seal light inside on the floor, it is going a bit because of all the fishing done in it and all that, all the wet river banks that it's sat on. But the fly sheet is still good. That doesn't leak, that doesn't need doing. But I will get round to resealing up the floor on this tent because I'd like to get this tent back going strong so I could use it again all year round, get it out, because I love this old tent and I really like using it. But now, because the floor's a bit like no good, I only really use this one in the summertime. It still does come out, but this is a really good little winter tent, so I will do the floor on this one and get this old tent back in action, get it going strong again so I can use it all year round in all weathers because that is what this tent was built for. So as you can see, it's got 3 poles and it's not rocket science with the 3 poles in this one. 2 of them are exactly the same length, so they form the cross. So you put them two in, they do the cross, exactly the same length poles. And then one of them is a shorter pole, and that goes at the front. So there's only three poles, and they're not hard to work out. It's not colour coded and all that, this one, but it doesn't need to be. It's only got three poles, it's easy. The two, same, make the cross, short one at the front. Easy peasy, this one. So you can see the poles go through the sleeves all right. No troubles. They do cross in a couple of places, which gives it its strength. And it is a strong little tent, this one. I've been out in this when it's been blowing a gale and that, and this tent takes it. No trouble whatsoever. It really does. It really is a strong little tent, this one. And I think it is a bit of a rarish tent, this one, because it is the ultra version. You tend not to see the ultra version much. Now I go out camping a lot and all that, and I do go places where people have the vintage tents and that. A lot of people use vintage tents, and you see a lot of the Trisars out there. But when you ask people, like if someone else is on the campsite and they got a Trisar, you will end up talking to them. And I'll ask them, is yours an Ultra? And they'll be like, I don't think so, I'm not sure how you tell or whatever. So there's a label in them. So when you look at the label, most of them are the normal one. So I think this Ultra is quite a rare tent. There is not many of these out there. Well, not that I've come across. Most of them I find with people using them, and you look at the label, they are just the normal version. You don't see this Ultra. I have seen a couple on eBay over years, but you see a lot on eBay of the normal version. And you can sort of tell the difference, because I think the normal version has a big wild country emblem on the side. Well, the ones I've come across have big wild country emblem on the side, but this Ultra does not have that. The sides on this one are just plain, and you can take this with a pinch of salt, 'cause I'm not sure if this is right or not. But I was on a campsite one day, and this bloke just come over and he went, oh, that's a nice tent, mate. I went, yeah, it is, thank you. He went, yeah, that's an Ultra, innit? I went, yeah, it is. He went, that's an early one as well. I went, yeah, it is. How do you know that? Have you got one? He went, no, but I used to work for Wild Country. And I went, oh, did you? Like at a factory? And he went, yeah, I used to work when they was making all these tents and that. So he went, do you know that them tents are a bit handmade? I went, what, all the Trisars? He went, no, just that Ultra. He said it was like finished off by hand and a lot of it was done by hand. I went, what, like my Quasar? I said, I've got an Expedition Super Quasar. That is totally handmade. That is made in a different place to the normal Quasars was made. My Quasar was made in Wales. It was totally handmade at like Terra Nova's headquarters in Wales. He went, no, not exactly like that. He said, but them early Trisar Ultras, some of it was made in the machine, but a lot of it was all hand done. It was hand finished. There was a lot more care taken building these. They was more done by actual people rather than being done on the machine. He said, so a lot of that tent is hand sewn, hand stitched, and just like hand built. He said, so they was made to a higher quality than the normal tries are, because they was like hand done and finished off by hand by the old top boys in the factory. So as you can see, that's the inner up on this tent. And look, if I push on that roof, that was not pushing down. I was putting quite a lot of pressure on that then. And alright, it's not as strong as my like Terra Nova Quasar. That thing does not move if you put pressure on the roof. But I was putting quite a lot of pressure on that then, and this thing was not bending. It is built a bit like a tank, this one, for a little small tent. This thing is really, really strong. And if you look at it, it's only the 3 poles. They only cross in 3 places. But for some reason, this thing is just really strong. So I'll just pick it up, move it back into place. So as you can see, it's freestanding, this one. You pitch that inner up without putting a peg in. So just move it to where you want it and then go round, stretch it out a little bit and just whack some pegs in it to hold it in place. That's all you need to do. Just go round, pegging it out. I'll just help her there, push that peg in, because my garden's like concrete at the minute. So that's all you do. You just go round, pegging it down. Now you peg it in the 4 corners, and then it's got 2 more pegging points, one either side, at the bottom of the other poles. And then you just throw the fly sheet over, peg that out of the back, pull it tight, and away you go. It's straightforward. You know how that works. That is just normal run-of-the-mill tent pitching. So nothing special about this tent at all. So it's a really easy tent to do. And I can do it. Where I've done this loads, I can throw this tent up really fast. And I can pack it down fast. So I like that about this tent. You can whack it up quick and you can pack it away quick. So it's an easy one, this. There's nothing to catch you out about this tent. 'Cause like some tents, when they've got like poles of 3 different lengths and all that, you have to like stop and think about what you're doing, and it's quite easy to get it wrong where you haven't pitched it for a while and all that. Some tents are a little bit confusing. You need to think about them and they take a bit of time. But not this one. This one is so straightforward with the 3 poles. It's just 2 do the cross the same, 1 at the front. So it's so easy, this one. It's just such an easy tent to just chuck up. And this tent, it is a proven design because you can still buy a brand new Trisar now. And alright, it looks a bit different to this one, but if you see one without the fly sheet on, they are still a very similar design. So they've never really changed this Trisar other than changing the fly sheet on it. So that just shows how good it is to still be going after all these years. So I'm just helping her pull the fly sheet over. You don't need 2 of you to put this tent up. I'm just helping her a little bit. You can easily put this tent up on your own. I'm not sure if you could do it on your own whilst holding the camera. That might be difficult. But without the camera in your hand, this tent is easy to just chuck it up on your own. So it's starting to take shape now, the old Trisar, and look at it, it has got an old-fashioned look to it. And I like these tents with the old-fashioned look to them. They look really good. And this one, 'cause it was the green, is sort of why we used it so much. It's a nice green colour, and because of the shape of this one, if me and mates wanted to go camping and just not be seen so much, if you put this thing in the corner of a field or down by the riverbank in some bushes and all that, near some bushes, it would just vanish, this one. It would just blend into its background. So I don't know why that is. I think it's to do with the shape of it. Because I had other tents that you'd think, oh, that'd be a good tent. You won't spot that. They was green and smaller than this, different shape. But you'd pitch them and you could spot them a mile off. But this one, you didn't need to walk that far away from this. If it had a bit of bushes or trees round it or something, you wouldn't need to walk that far away from it, and you'd look back and you could hardly see it. So this really was a good one for a bit of like not getting seen camping. And it must be to do with the shape and the colour, because I think the shape of it, there's nothing about it to catch your eye, so it just blends into its surroundings good. So it always was a really good tent for this. You could just pitch this anywhere, and as long as it had a bit of green bushes or was near some trees or something like that, it would just blend in and vanish. So when like, I first got this tent, we used it a hell of a lot, me and my mates. I just really liked it. You know, like you get some tents and you sort of use them a couple of times and then you're like, I really like that tent. Well, that was what happened to me with this one. Because I didn't really go after one of these. I just saw it on eBay, local. And it was like years ago, like I said, it was 20 years ago, maybe longer. So, like, eBay hadn't just started, but it hadn't been going that long. It wasn't like it is now. So it weren't like it is now where you type in 10 and 200 million of them come up. Back then, if you typed in 10, you was lucky if you got like 100 or 200 tents come up. So I think I had money in my account because I just started a little eBay account to sell some stuff. I had stuff I wanted to get rid of. So I'd sold a load of stuff on eBay, got rid of a load of old clutter that I wanted to get rid of, and I had money sitting in the account. And it weren't like now where eBay's linked to your bank account and all that. Back then eBay had it had its own like separate little account. So I had money sitting in that account. I found this tent, and because I had the Quasar, and I really like that Quasar, I love these winter tents. You'll see as the channel goes more and more, I have got quite a few of these old winter tents. So I found this and looked at it and thought, oh, it is a bit like a mini little Quasar. So I just bought it. And then once I went and collected it, I remember going to get it with my mate in his car, and we got it home and set it up, and then we used it a few times, and I'm like, right, I really like that little tent. I don't know why, but this tent, from right in the start when I had it, I really, really liked using this tent. So I sort of just started using it more than any other tent, really. And once we realised you could open all the front up, and we realised that it was a really, really good fishing tent, we started taking it fishing all the time and all that. Because before this, I had a little old tent we used to take fishing. It was called a Litchfield Beaver. And yes, we did get all the jokes. Have you got your beaver out today, boy? Are you getting your beaver out, boy? All that used to come out. We have had every beaver joke under the sun about the Litchfield beaver tent. But the beaver tent, it was like our little fishing tent. Me and mates go fishing, take that beaver, 'cause it's another good one. You can hide it up on the riverbank, get some bushes round it and that. That little beaver will just vanish. So we always used that. But then this took over from that because this was better. It was much nicer tent to use for the fishing and that. You'd open the front up, get your rods right up to the front, get this thing right down on the river's edge, or even a bit of sea fishing. We'd have this pitched down on the beach and all that. So it's done it all, this tent. It's been up the woods, on many a riverbank, it's been on the beach, it's been everywhere, this tent, and it has took all that, and he's still going strong. And it was our like late night party tent, this one. We've had many a party in this thing, bit of a rave up with the music going and all that in this, and it's took all that as well. And other than like the seam seal is going on the ground sheet inside, other than that, this tent is in really nice condition. It has lasted really well. So I do sort of think back to that bloke, he might have been telling the truth. Was this tent built a little bit by hand, finished by hand? Was it built a bit better than a normal Trisar? Because it seems like it is, because it has just lasted so well. Not many tents would have took what I've put this tent through and still be going like this one is. So I don't know if that man was telling the truth about these being handmade and all that. He might have been talking a load of old rubbish. But I've often thought, why would he have come over and said all that if it wasn't true? And I have tried to check that up online. I have looked into that about was these a bit handmade and all that. I've never been able to find nothing out about it. So I don't know if that man was telling the truth or what. But he might have been. I've always sort of thought, why would he have just come over and made that up? He was an old boy. He seemed like a nice old boy. But, well, that is what he said, that these early Trisars was sort of finished off by hand in the factory by the top boys. And I do believe him a bit because of how well this thing has coped with everything that's been chucked at it and how well it has survived. And I've got like mates that used to come out in this years ago and that. So when I use it now, we go out somewhere and the mates see it, they're like, that ain't your old original Trisar. I'm like, yeah. They're like, God, look at it. It looks nice. I can't believe that thing is still going and still looks as good as it does. I'm like, yeah, bomb-proof this old girl, built to last. And they'll be like, what about the old beaver? You ain't still got that old beaver tent, have you? And I'll be like, yeah, the old beaver is still going strong. And they just laugh. They go, oh, I love that old beaver tent. So this tent did really replace the old beaver tent. See, the beaver was our fishing tent, and I need to get that beaver out. I should get it out soon and bring it to the channel. So I should get my beaver out and do a little bit of filming on it and give it a good airing. So yes, I said it then. I will be getting my beaver out soon and putting it on the channel. So let's have a look inside the old Trisar. So as you can see, the door zips both sides and then you just roll it up and it's got the toggles at the top. Oh, and as you can see, it has started raining now. If I knew it was going to rain, I wouldn't have got this old girl out. I would have left it in the dry. Oh, I wouldn't have started this if I knew it was going to rain, because now I'm going to have to air this tent right out, dry it right out before I can put it away. Because never put your tent away wet. You might as well just throw it in the bin. You might as well save the time in rolling it up and putting it back in the bag and just chuck it straight in the bin as to put it away damp. Now, I apologise for the state of the floor. If I knew you all was coming round to have a look at it, I would have run the hoover round and got the red carpet out, but I haven't. So as you can see, this thing is a bit stained up on that ground sheet. That is because it's had a ton of fishing done in it, all the fishing boxes chucked in here. It's had many a party in here. It's had wine spilt in here. It's had beer spilt in here. It has had everything spilt in here. It has had food all over the floor. It has had everything done in this tent. But as you can see, other than the messy stained floor, this tent is in really good condition. And although that floor is really stained up and marked up, there is no holes in it. There is nothing wrong with it other than the seam seals going that I will get round to doing another day. And as you can see there, it's got the little tags so you can hang the washing line up. So you can hang up your socks or your pants or your knickers or your bra, whatever you wear when you are camping. It's got the big air vent at the back there so it can breathe and vent nice. So it's a really nice place to be in here, this tent. So I'll just stand the camera down for a second so I can do the door and I'll show you the mesh and that, because you can do the door, you unzip that part and then it will leave the whole door as just a big mesh panel so it vents really well. And as you can see, I'm laying down in it now. It's a really nice sized two-man tent in here. Can easily get 3 of you in here. I think when we was younger, sometimes fishing, we had 4 of us in here. And we've had loads of us in here having the party with the music, having the old rave up. But there wasn't enough room for us all to sleep. We was just doing the partying and the drinking. So it was like our rave tent, all sitting in here having a good old rave up. VIP only, no riffraff was allowed in here, it was invite only to the Trisar party time tent. So it was like the old classic song said, your name's not down, you're not coming in, not tonight, not tonight, not tonight, you're not on the list. So I've just zipped the door back together and now I am unzipping the door to open it up, and the door just rolls up and goes along little toggles on the floor and holds in place like the doors do on a ton of tents out there. Just rolls up and goes on the toggles. So I've just put the camera down for a second because I need both hands to do the toggles. I just cannot do them one-handed. So this tent, like when I was younger, this tent sort of lived in the boot of my car, really. And like me and mates would go out, go to the pub and that, and have the car with you, and then you'd end up having too much to drink. So I'd have this tent in the boot of the car. So we'd just go, so we stay here tonight, go, yeah. Say to the landlord or something, mate, I've got my car, but we're going to have too much drink. Can I put my tent up in the garden? So this tent has been pitched out in many a pub garden. And as you can see there, look, Ultra Trisar. And it's got the little thing, look, lock, taping, examining, and the little codes who done it. So I do sort of think that man was telling the truth, and this tent might have been a little bit finished off by hand, or just made a little bit different to a normal Trisar, to have that little tag in it and its own little serial code and all that. I do think it might have been done a little bit different, but I'm not 100% on that. I'm only going on what some old man said, but he did seem like a nice old man, so maybe he was telling the truth, maybe he was talking rubbish. I've never been able to prove it online. I've never found anything out about that. The Super Expedition Quasar is handmade at a different place to all the other Quasars. So I do think this Trisar got the same treatment, because this one has lasted so well. It just has. Like I said, it lived in the boot of my car for years, and me and mates all drunk would pile in it. If we was at a pub and it didn't have a garden, or the landlord said no, we'd had too much to drink to drive home. I might not have had my car. One of my friends might have been driving. So they'd go, got a tent in the boot, so I might have a drink tonight. So this tent would get chucked in the boot of our car. We'd go out in a little pub somewhere. He'd end up having too much drink, and we'd all know. We'd just like wander away from the pub, find the nearest bit of woods or grass or a field or anything, chuck the old Trisar up and all pile in it. So this tent did get used and abused, and we'd get takeaway beers from the pub, so we'd like carry on the party in this tent. So I've had some fun with this tent. It has had some good old parties in it, where we've like pitched it in all sorts of places and had loads of tinnies of beer or a bottle or something all piled in it, and had party night in this tent, and then gone and got the car in the morning. So yeah, this tent has done it all, this tent really. So to still be going as good as it has is testament to wild country and how well this thing has been made. Because if you'd done that with most tents, they would have fell apart years ago and would no longer still be about. But this one has took all that and it's still going strong. So as you can see, you can do that with the door. You like unhook it off of the peg, the little side of the front, and then you roll it up and it goes on a toggle there, so you open it right up. And you can do the same with the other side. You could sort of have the door zipped down as well if you was cooking, so you could have the door zipped down, a few pegs in the rubbers at the bottom of the door, and then have a little bit open at the side, and you can do cooking in that front bit with the door down. If it was raining and that, there's enough room to like cook in there. Or you can do what I'm doing now and open it right up. So I've just put the camera down so I can tackle the toggle on the other door, roll it up, just get hold of, it's got a toggle there, get hold of that, just pull it round the pole. I've always pulled it round the pole. You could do it behind the pole, but I've always done it like this. Pull it round the pole, clip the toggle together, and that's it. Both doors are open. So this thing's lovely. This is how we used to use it for a bit of fishing and that. We'd have rods set up just in this little front bit here, and have this right down on the riverbank. Rod set out the front of it, roll that front right back. Yeah, look at that. That's a great fishing tent. Lovely. Or we'd have it like normal camping. You'd have the front down with a bit of it open and cooking in it and all that. But this tent did get used a lot like that for fishing. You get the rods right up to the tent. So when it's raining and that, you're sitting in the tent, but you can still get hold of your rods because they're just out the front. So this was a really good fishing tent, really was. And the old Litchfield beaver that I've got, yes, I am talking about my beaver again. It was a similar sort of design but smaller, so it had the hole at the front like that, and we do it with that as well, get it right down on the river's edge, and then you could sit in that one and like have your rods out the front. But it wasn't as good as this one because the front didn't open up as much. So when I got this one, this became like the better tent to use when we used to go fishing. So this tent did it all really. It was the fishing tent, it was the boot of the car drunken party tent, and it was the like go out in all conditions up the woods just use and abuse tent. So over the years this tent has seen a lot of action. I've used it a lot. That's why I would like to sort the floor out and re-seam all this thing up, because I would still carry on using it like that, this tent. I know it can take it, it's pretty indestructible, this tent. Apart from that seam seal on the floor, this tent is built to last, definitely, and it has got a lot of life left in it, this tent. So as you can see, I've zipped that inner mesh up, and when we used to go out in the summer and that, that's how we had this tent, that's how we slept in it. The whole front open, and just the mesh down on the door, and we just slept in it like that, and then it would stay nice and cool even on a red hot summer's night. It'd be lovely in there. So that is how we use this tent the most. Front opened up with that mesh down. So I've just put it back together, put the front back out. So yeah, that is it. The Wild Country Trisar. If you're looking for a bit of a vintage tent, if you can find one of these in nice condition, a very versatile and good tent to get your hands on. So this Trisar from Wild Country definitely gets the thumbs up from me because it has seen a lot of action and is still going strong. Thanks for watching and please subscribe. I'm off now and I might invite some friends round to have a bit of a party in the Trisar for old time's sake. And I might invite a few too many, just so I can say, your name's not down, you're not coming in. Not tonight, not tonight, not tonight, you're not on the list. So let's go. Party time in the Trisar.